All right, welcome. We are so excited to get this underway. It's been a super fun process to plan. I'll be making some remarks tomorrow also, but just very quickly to kick us off, I want to make a few announcements. This is an image. I wanted to get an image from the first ever wafer, which was here in San Francisco in 1994, but I couldn't find it. So this actually is something that happened even a little before that. This was in 1992. It was a conference in Southern California called GUMP, Geometric Uncertainty in Motion Planning. And you'll recognize a few faces that are here that are, let's see, Tomas Lozano Perez, Matt Mason, a number of folks were at this conference. And that kind of had a somewhat relationship to the first wafer. This photo I was able to find, which was where the banquet was held. Danny's right there. Danny organized this banquet. This place burned down, unfortunately, or else we would be back there for the banquet this time. But we're here, and super excited. Those of you how many of you have been to the Exploratorium before? Okay, great. A number of you haven't, so you're going to in for a treat. We're going to be able. The banquet will be here. It'll be walking banquets. You'll be able to go walk around and check out all the exhibits that'll be open tomorrow night. The program, and again, I want to thank Lauren. She's been fantastic in organizing with a great, elegant touch. All this material. The program is in your little those gift sacks. There's a lot of details there. Everything is listed here. I also want to thank Kostas. Where is he? Kostas is organizing all of the respondents and. So we encourage you to jump in and ask questions. One of the things we really want to do this year is really engage. So we're hoping to discourage use of laptops and other screens and just be focused and prepare questions. Like think of really good, juicy, trenchant questions for the speakers. And so we'll go through all that. We have terrific keynote speakers, really legendary. I was trying to summarize this as swarms, statistics, sampling, and sums we're going to be covering. And tonight, also, we'll mention this at the end of the day, but we have a special event, an art opening, will be after the sessions are over. So right around 5 o'clock when we leave, there's a little walk, and there's a map in your program, but it's called the Sunday Art Opening, which is right in the heart of North Beach, which is a kind of art and it's a mix of the Chinatown and the Italian area of town. So and there's also lots of restaurants around there to hang out. Last thing I want to show you is our sponsors. We are deeply indebted. I also want to especially thank Peter Abil for organizing all of the sponsors and bringing them on board. They have been terrific to work with and made a lot of these things possible, especially some of the student travel awards. And now I want to show you this very quickly about that lump of coal in your bag.
I always encourage my students to ask questions and never ever stop thinking. Our scientific result, this invention, was reached by the very same method. So in 1995, I had a chance to meet Vladimir Igorevich Arnold, who I think was one of the most influential scientific minds of the 20th century. He presented me with a question whether a three-dimensional homogeneous object could exist with less than 4 static equilibrium points. And the general belief was that such an object cannot exist. Gradually I realized this question is so beautiful that it is worth any amount of effort. For 10 years I was trying to solve it on my own, and I got to understand many aspects of the problem. I can do undisturbed thinking if nobody is likely to talk to me. The discovery itself can be exciting, but it is much more exciting to think about something for an extended period of time. At some point, I got so desperate that while on holidays with my wife, I proposed to collect 2,000 pebbles on the shore and to classify them based on the number and type of their equilibrium points, hoping to find one pebble which would have the property of having one stable and one unstable point only, but we didn't find it. When Peter joined in, things became extremely fast.
We had the intuition, we kind of knew what we wanted to find, but we didn't really have the mathematical background. My mathematical education is quite weak, and Gabor is also an engineer and not a mathematician.
I think we just complemented each other in a very good way.
He is the type of person who has ideas all the time. He's coining new ideas every 10 minutes. It was a fascinating three-dimensional puzzle.
Finally, we managed to find this shape. The gumbert behaves exactly like a roly-poly, but it doesn't have an added weight inside. It always returns to the stable point.
We needed a very precise technology to realize this object because it's very sensitive to imperfections. People from the Western world always ask first what this is good for, but Eastern people appreciate the beauty itself and they want to understand the philosophy rather than the purpose of a shape like this. It's a source of further questions for me.
In science, questions are much more valuable than the answers.
Okay, so on that note about questions being more valuable than answers, that is going to be our theme for the conference. I want to thank Gabor. There's a long story behind this we could tell you during coffee breaks or various times, but he did a fantastic job. This is the first ever batch of injection molded gombots in the world. So you have the first ones. All right, so without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our first speaker.